Hello, my name is Andreas Friedl and I'm a PhD student and a junior economist at the Kiel Institute for the World Economy. I'm very grateful for receiving the Young Professional Grant from the Fondazione Roberto Franceschi, and today I want to talk about how this grant helped me to achieve my research by talking a little bit about my project. The title is Preferences for Income Redistribution and Migration, an empirical analysis of the psychology of discrimination. The idea behind the project came when we realized that Europe faces one of the largest or the largest refugee inflow since the Second World War, with over 1 million refugees having come to Europe in 2015 alone. The political will to welcome and integrate refugees differs considerably among both European governments and among its citizens. Especially right-wing national parties are on the rise in Europe and worldwide, partly as a consequence of natives' fears of the consequences of migration. Failure to tackle these challenges may jeopardize social cohesion in Western societies and undermine the whole European Union project. We all know already from studies that the potential economic burden of hosting refugees plays an important role in shaping attitudes towards refugees. It is still unclear whether concerns about the prospects of a labor market integration or refugees related to the refugees' potential impact on the individual, so their own economic situation, or rather the possible impact on society as a whole drives this. This is so because most studies use surveys which cannot disentangle the two. Yet knowing the driving factor behind these concerns is fundamental to designing effective policies to handle these refugee crises. One key question is whether to prioritize scarce resources to improve, for example, language skills of migrations, or including refugees, or to improve their employability. If resentments against immigrants or migrants is primarily driven by society-wide economic concerns, improving employability and thus lowering the fiscal cost should reduce the resentment. By contrast, if the resentment is driven by concerns about people's own economic situation, this would imply that improving the employability of a migrant could be seen as giving them an unfair advantage and hence increase resentment. To answer this question and to drive a more and robust appraisal of how information of immigration influences the public opinion, we combine survey and experimental methods. What we are doing is that we will use a vignette study in which 1,000 Germans, representative for the German population, are shown a set of profile cards of real Germans and of real migrants, with varying information about gender, religion, educational attainment, language proficiency, and so on. And as well, their involvement in the labor market and in community work, so voluntarily working for society. Our participants will receive 10 euros additional to their normal participation fee. From this 10 euros, they can redistribute any amount, nothing, all, or some or part of it, of this towards the other real person related to the profile card, of which one, so they will see more than one profile, but one of them will actually receive this redistributed amount. This way we record a real meaningful decision on redistribution between Germans and migrants and Germans and other Germans. We will collect the matching migrant sample and they will do the same decision. Thus we are matching migrants and Germans in one larger sample. So we have two samples. By strategically varying the information content of the profiles, we will be able to observe how the willingness to redistribute changes dependent on the information about the other person and specifically which characteristics of the migrant's life experience leads to more discrimination. Crucially, our study will be the first that asks German citizens to choose which specific demographic characteristics that they want to know about before making the redistribution decision, starting from a situation of ignorance. This will further reveal what drives the preferences for redistribution and which factors matters the most in fostering discrimination. Lastly, we will also let immigrants or migrants choose which information they want to reveal and which one they want to hide to the German decision makers. Thereby, we can identify possible discrepancies between the actual drivers of discrimination and those perceived by the migrants. There could be a mismatch. They think they get discriminated on the one thing, actually maybe they don't get discriminated at all, or they get discriminated on something different. So in sum, we will analyze how information affects German citizens and natives' willingness to redistribute money to migrants or refugees. If the willingness to redistribute increases with the immigrants' characteristics that signal a high contribution to the welfare state, policy intervention may be useful that focus